I'm Stephen Popkin, and I chose reverse engineer the brain. I chose it not only because of the statistics, which may be relevant towards saving lives and the quality of lives, but also because of the technology that may be involved. All right? To begin with, to successfully reverse engineer the brain would mean to probably cure a very large number of mental diseases and brain illnesses and injuries. And according to the CDC, 1.7 million people every year will suffer from traumatic brain injuries, and 30.5% of injury-related deaths are TBI-related. Essentially, brain injuries are bad, and society as we know it doesn't know how to fix them yet. So, that's why this is a relevant problem. Now, in addition, I'm interested because of being a slight bit of a sci-fi advocate. Devices could theoretically be built to interface with the brain, provide input and output, and essentially be controlled by the brain and give the brain information. So, once again, interesting applications. Now, let's look at a prior solution. Earlier this year, Google ended up hooking together a very large number of computer processors and made the system learn to identify pictures of a certain type just by setting it just to look at pictures and learn. And without any additional information, it learned what a cat looks like. That might not seem very important, but it started learning without any special input beyond just looking at stuff. So it's a step in the right direction. Now, my solution would be a larger scale version of this. Google's research was a relatively small number of scientists compared to the number that would be necessary to fully reverse engineer, well, was billions of neurons as opposed to 16,000 processors. So, essentially, it would be a very large collaborative effort of anything, surgeons, doctors, scientists, anybody with significant knowledge of the brain, plus a large number of computer scientists, because it just seems like a lot of computer analogies fit, and that, the Google experiment, seemed to be very relevant and kind of be close to the solution. So, since we know that the Google answer was an interesting prior solution, one might expect that future pseudo-brains would probably be built, and thus you'd have prototypes there, built by the creative team, I guess, right? As far as testing it goes, well, that would be like the way Google displayed about the computer learning to read cats. And as far as refinement, well, it's just the very fact that it would be built larger and more comprehensively, that is kind of refining it. So essentially, this cycle could go on for years and eventually unravel the secrets of the brain, both inside and outside. Because the brain is a bit of a, at least if one were to ask a doctor, it just seems like they'd probably say it's a fairly complex piece of hardware. Anyway, so that's why reverse engineering the brain is relevant not only to the engineering design cycle, but also to interesting technology in the future and to lives and the quality of life. Now, for my list of the design cycle stages in a very simplified form. That probably got good footage of it, I assume. I assume that got good footage of that. Now, for my sources for statistics and whatnot, and interesting ideas. And there you have it.